You want to see the sweaty grip marks on the steering wheel where Carroll Shelby held the steering wheel when he raced at Le Mans. That is what's history, that is what's important. And I feel from my contribution to what I'm doing is that's what I want to preserve and that's what I want to carry over. I'm Wayne Harley. I've been the curator of the Franschhoek Motor Museum since October of 2004. I started my museum career back in the late 1980s. My father was always into classic cars, so I grew up with the older, more basic cars. We had them all, so I could pretty much tell the difference between a piston, a valve, and a gearbox from the age of 6. And that's where the love for classic motor cars and motorcycles started. So in 2004, when I was appointed curator of the Franschhoek Museum, I was also asked to help in setting this up. I worked with the architect Johan Wessels, and obviously under the guidance of the owner at that time, Mr. Johan Rupert, we started building the Franschhoek Motor Museum. Since then, the collection has grown to over 300 cars, and we now have 23 staff in full-time employment. I've become very attached to a lot of the cars. I've seen them being found as derelict bits, which we have taken in, restored, brought them back to life. I'm not only a technically skilled person in the restoration of motor cars, but I'm also technically skilled in the running and operations of museums. I've worked with the Cultural Heritage Museum, Transport Museum, I've worked with this museum. I find it very important that if you're going to look after classic motor cars, you need someone who sees the global or the whole picture and is concerned about preserving that and maintaining that for future people. And what is really nice about having someone like myself driving this is the fact that it's gone beyond just taking a car and repainting it and putting a new motor in it. It's now gone to preserving the provenance and the heritage behind the car. The Franschhoek Motor Museum has a 75% running operational collection. We can get into a lot of these motor cars, turn them, drive them. The best part about being the curator of the Franschhoek Motor Museum is the reward of bringing life back to an artifact that's been dormant for 50, 60 years, to hear it run, to smell it, to climb behind the steering wheel. It's an honor. And as a curator, you get to do that. As a curator, I get to share my knowledge, and hopefully in 200 years' time, I might have made a mark on history which will be remembered.